Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Meteorologist Courtney Jacobazzi here with your 11 a.m. update on Tropical Storm Elsa. Has slowed down a little bit, moving north-northwest now at 10 miles per hour, and winds are still sustained at 60 miles per hour, so it hasn't strengthened, but that is expected to happen as we go through the day today, and the center of circulation stays over the warm Gulf waters. You can see here it is going to get dangerously close to the Tampa coast as we head into tomorrow morning, where it will be packing winds upwards of 70 miles per hour. That's a very high-end tropical storm that's just shy of Category 1 hurricane status. In order to be a Category 1 hurricane, you need sustained winds of 74 miles per hour. Now, some good news with the latest forecast cone. It does look like it has shifted east slightly, so that does take out a good bit of our southeasternmost counties, now just clipping parts of Telfair, Wheeler, Montgomery, and Treutlen County, but still passing us as a low-end tropical storm before eventually making that transition back into a tropical depression as we head into Thursday morning as it knocks on the door of the Carolinas. When it comes to any kind of watches and warnings, it does look like tropical storm warnings are in effect along most of the Florida coast, the west coast of Florida, and tropical storm watches extending into parts of southern Georgia and parts of the Georgia and South Carolina coast currently. So for us, we do not have any. That's not expected here, but we still could see some tropical storm force wind gusts. We're talking upwards of 45, maybe even 50 miles per hour when it comes to those wind gusts, and that would be for our extreme southeastern most counties. Severe weather wise, it looks like any kind of threat for severe weather tomorrow is going to stay out to our south and east, where they will be keeping a very close eye on, of course, the heavy tropical downpours, but also that potential for a brief spin up tornado. We're going to keep an eye on the potential for severe weather. I don't think it's completely out of the cards for tomorrow, especially as those outermost convective rain bands make their way into our forecast, but we do not have an organized severe threat for tomorrow. So we're going to take you through the graph. This is actually the model that's going to replace the RPM later this year, and it's been doing pretty good with where Elsa is expected to go. It's pretty in line with the National Hurricane Center's forecast. So as we head into late tomorrow morning, here come those outermost convective rain bands, again potentially carrying some severe weather within those as we head into the early afternoon, the late morning into the early afternoon. And the storm will start to push into southern Georgia as we head towards 3 o'clock tomorrow. And by the late evening, closer to sunset time, the storm will start to push just past to our southeast. Again, on the right side of the storm is where you typically get that severe weather, and that is matching the Storm Prediction Center's outlook for tomorrow, thinking the severe weather should stay off the coast. Notice most of us are dry on the right side of the left side of these tropical storms. You get sinking air, which usually gives you a drying effect. So most of us are going to stay dry, but we will be plenty breezy tomorrow as that storm again does pass us potentially as a low-end tropical storm. Then we simply go back into a summer-like pattern as we go through the rest of the week. So let's talk about some numbers. As this storm parallels the west coast of Florida, could see wind gusts upwards of 50 miles per hour near the Tampa area, even upwards of 54 miles per hour in parts of southern Georgia. For us, I don't think that's out of reach, but I think the general consensus is going to be 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts, and you're going to have the potential for those isolated higher gusts in our southeasternmost counties, maybe upwards of 45 miles per hour or so, and that will be in the cards for the evening tomorrow. So again, close to sunset time, and hopefully this can get out of here before we head into the overnight hours. The RPM model does still hint that the storm is going to move a little bit slower, so that's not out of the question, but most models are hinting that this is going to be a close to sunset time event just as we head into midnight, and then we're going to be said and done by Thursday morning by the time we all wake up. So that tornado threat very low. We're going to keep an eye on those outer convective rain bands. The damaging wind gusts, that's more of a moderate threat for us, especially for our southeasternmost counties. Pair that with the potential for those heavy tropical downpours. That is going to warrant for the potential for maybe some trees to down, and then that could lead to some power outages. So that's something we'll be monitoring very closely. Again, Wednesday into the very early overnight hours, so about midnight or so, 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts with higher gusts possible south and east of Macon. And then we're looking at about a ½ an inch to an inch of rain with maybe some locally heavy amounts south and east of Macon between today's rain chance and by the time Elsa gets on out of here. Of course, we'll continue to keep you updated on air and online at 13WMAZ.com with the latest on Elsa.